Hi, back for another episode of Democracy Disney and Drinks. We've been gone for a couple weeks. Uh, Lots of crap going on.
End of school, lots of
And
stuff that we
in
had
the
to deal with there.
school, our house got two kittens.
Oh my
It's been crazy.
God. I'm sure
Um,
I'm sure Oliver and Dinah will visit us
yeah,
throughout this episode. They're in there with you.
yeah, or claw at my leg, and I'll have like one of these moments, and you'll know what happened. So it's fine.
It's too stinking cute. Well, there's a lot to unpack. Uh, I'm just gonna jump in because there's so much, and I've tried to be organized in my thoughts here, but I think we mentioned the $400 million Cutter plane the last time. It just popped up and then there was some uproar about it. But we have officially accepted it, or, the government has officially accepted it. Of course, it's going to be something that only Trump will use, and will go to his foundation after the presidency. So, yeah, I have a clip of Mike Johnson, which I'll play in a little bit, trying to explain away all this shit. Uh, there was also a meme coin holders dinner at Mar-a-Lago. And I think it was like the top 2 dozen or something like that. Buyers of the Trump meme coin got a personal dinner. Uh,
Isn't this the one or the thing that he said though? It's not a conflict of interest or whatever. He's not profiting off because this is what he's doing on his own time.
Not his own time. Well,
But
he's president all the time.
yeah,
You
it's
don't
weird.
just, yeah.
He's not the president on the weekends when he goes golfing on our dime. But
Yeah. Oh, yeah, because
yeah,
he
it's fine.
flew to Mar-a-Lago again. We're on track for that $1 billion in expenses related to him, weekly golfing trips back to Mar-a-Lago. Yeah. But I also read though that this group will have access to the White House, like a personal tour. Uh, that's nice. I've never been in the White House. I don't have like $5 million though to buy his stupid meme coin. So that's awesome. Uh, And also, he's increasing the Mar-a-Lago membership to $1 million now. So I'm sure. Yeah,
And
sure.
he's what doubled his net worth since he's became president. So yeah, he's not looking to profit.
Yeah,
I don't know what we're thinking.
no, we're silly. We're
he
just
he's
silly.
a he's a wonderful businessman who doesn't need the presidency to keep himself out of prison or to profit off of.
No, he's doing this out of the goodness of his heart. But I'm going to play a Mike Johnson clip. He's going to be a highlight today because he's moving up on my list of people I'd like to punch. He's right up there with JD Vance these days, for me at least. So I'm gonna play this clip and then we can talk.
My understanding is it's not a personal gift to the president; it's a gift to the United States, and other nations give us gifts all the time. But I'm going to leave it to the administration; they know much more about the details of that. Okay, it's not my lane. Yes, sir.
Speaker, you were very critical of President Biden and his family's foreign business dealings. You supported an impeachment inquiry as a result of it. Are you equally concerned about President Trump's family's business dealings, especially given the fact that he is in a region now where his family has billions of dollars of investments in Doha, Saudi Arabia, and the fact that he has a crypto business now where he's auctioned off access to the White House for the highest bidder in his meeting?
Look, there are authorities that police, executive branch, ethics rules. I'm not an expert in that. My expertise is here in the House. Okay, I will say that the reason many people refer to the Bidens as the Biden crime family is because they were doing all this stuff behind curtains, but in the back rooms. They were trying to conceal it, and they repeatedly lied about it, and they set up shell companies, and the family was all engaged in getting all on the dole. Whatever the President Trump is doing is out in the open. They're not trying to conceal anything.
Mr. Speaker.
Well, that makes it okay. As long as it's out and open, it's okay. If you murder someone on the street, as long as people can witness it and you're saying that you're doing it, it's okay. Are you
Right?
serious right now?
You hadn't heard that, no?
What a moron. But let me stay in my lane.
Right? Awesome. Awesome. They also renamed, did you see this? Renamed savings accounts to Trump savings accounts. I don't, like, why? Like, what is wrong with you? Uh, then I don't know if you saw in the Oval Office, you know, we had several weeks ago, maybe a month ago, President Zelensky, where Trump, you know, him and JD Vance kind of, you know, went after Zelensky in the Oval Office. This is now like an everyday thing, I guess, where they bring foreign leaders into the Oval Office and try to say awful shit. I mean, they did it to the new Canadian Prime Minister, and he did really
held his
well as
own.
far as, yeah, he held his own. And so did the president of South Africa. He was in the Oval
I did
Office
see
this
that.
past week, and Trump, and just, I don't know if you knew this, the president of South Africa had worked with Nelson Mandela. So this is who he is.
Yeah.
He is black. Okay.
Yeah.
He has a white agricultural minister who was with him there. And Trump accused him to his face of genocide against white African farmers, and then played like propaganda videos, like dim the lights and showed propaganda videos from like Facebook posts that were not real. It was disgusting.
And articles that he like were showing that had pictures that weren't related to it. It was in a completely different area. I'm just like, this is what we get for following an administration that's based on lies and propaganda, doesn't know how to fact check shit, doesn't do research to make sure that what they're presenting is factual.
They don't care.
And like, you just look like an asshole is what you do. Like anybody that is semi-educated.
We look like total assholes right now. As a country.
Absolutely.
Well, and the president of South Africa, I don't know if you saw this clip, where he said, well, President Trump, I would love to give you an airplane. And Trump's like, oh, I would gladly take it.
I would take it.
I mean, oh, there's little Dinah.
You climbed up my leg. It hurt. It's fine.
and Dinah is named after the little kitty in Alice in Wonderland, right?
Yes.
Dinah.
Yes.
I love it. Love it. Maybe we'll see Oliver here in a little bit.
Oh, you can see him right now.
He's gonna climb right in there. Oliver from Oliver and Company. Yeah.
They made their home in here in my bookshelves. It's fine.
That's hilarious. They're so fun.
Yeah. So did you see who else he brought into the Oval Office? Trying to
no,
make himself somewhat like he matters to the Pope. He brought the Pope's brother, who's a MAGA supporter.
Are you serious? He's a MAGA supporter.
There's one in every family. He brought him and his wife dressed in, casual clothing, mind you, not a suit, into the White House for a photo op. Anything to try and get himself attention related to the Pope, to make himself maybe feel more godly.
I
don't know. But I was like, God, you're so exactly. It's gross.
Why would they do that? Why would they be part of that? That's awful.
Attention.
That's awful. Probably the estranged brother or something. Oh, and there's little Oliver.
They're so sweet.
You're welcome.
Thanks. Thanks for my possible cat allergies.
Get over it. It's all good.
It's fine.
Moving on to the budget bill, because this is especially kind of infuriating, and I know you said you hadn't looked too much at this, and I have a couple clips of
enough. I think I know enough of it. It's infuriating.
Well,
I think that's when I stopped, because I was just like,
well, let's see if I can surprise you. Let's see if I can shock you.
Let's.
It's hard to get shocked anymore, but so the budget bill that passed in the wee morning hours, like at 1 a.m, I think Wednesday or Thursday morning, it will kick 14 million people off their health care. They'll lose it. It will
this is Medicaid, right? Yeah.
Medicaid. It will also, there's also cuts to Medicare. So the poor and the old, I guess, we don't care about those people.
Obviously.
there's-
What do they contribute to society?
There's cuts to SAP, which is the supplemental SNAP. I'm sorry, the
SNAP.
supplemental nutrition assistance program for
Sure.
children primarily, but low income families to make sure they can get healthy food. We're going to cut that. We're going to cut rental assistance for low income individuals. Awesome. They're going to gut HUD, which is availability for low income housing, things like that. So again, we don't care about those people. They're going to gut FEMA. Their goal is to maybe do away with FEMA, and there's already things on the news.
Yeah, they're trying to push it to the states.
Denying
FEMA the states to take care of this stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
Good luck, Florida. Good luck, Louisiana.
Yeah. They'll bankrupt those states is what will happen. They obviously have tax cuts. They want to extend the Trump tax cuts. So like the top 1%, top 0.1% are getting hundreds of thousands of dollars in tax cuts as a result of that. At the same time, low income wage earners that make less than, it goes across the board, but these are
30,000.
Less than $30,000 will see an increase.
Increase or something crazy.
It's stupid.
I was like,
because they're doing away with the lowest income tax bracket. Yeah. And that doesn't even account for all the services and the healthcare they're losing and things like that. So it is what I've heard and what is being reported is essentially the largest transfer of wealth in our history. From the people who can't afford
need help the most.
Yes.
We're going to take anything that we're giving them.
Who don't need shit. They have 5 yachts. They'd like another. Like uber wealthy. Like you can't even imagine the wealth. As a result of all this, it's going to add anywhere between $3 and $5 trillion to the debt. So it's not even making us more. It's not fiscally. We're not going to be better off.
There's no benefits.
No. In fact, because of that add-on, Moody's downgraded our country's credit rating.
Yeah, stop that.
What the?
Yeah.
Are you serious?
But it's fine because people have confidence in the United States, according to Miss Levitt. Mrs. Levitt, whatever
her name is. Yeah, and then they snuck in some things in the budget bill. Did you see those?
I saw a couple things.
Maybe that's the same ones.
Tanning bed tax?
Removing the excise tax on tanning services.
So I'm going to just say, screw skin cancer. I'm going to open up my tanning bed business because that's apparently the only way to get tax breaks.
Well, Trump does like his tanning beds. And a few of his cabinet members do love their tanning beds.
They do look a little orange.
Little orange.
No offense, Oliver. You're a beautiful orange.
They are also removing regulations and the taxes associated with gun silencers.
Oh, yeah. Saw that. Yeah. Sure did. Yeah.
Because who actually needs a gun silencer, right? Who's doing that? Yeah, we know. I mean, only like the bad people. Okay, you only have a gun silencer, in my opinion, if you're doing something you shouldn't be doing and maybe committing.
I'm sure they're just getting it
homicides
because they want to do target practice and they have young children that they don't want to wake up.
Yeah,
I bet that's what it is.
I bet that's it. Yeah, so I do have a couple of clips of Mike Johnson that I do have to play here. So here's the first clip. It's good. It's Mike Johnson basically praising Trump like he's a dictator, like he's a king.
And today wouldn't be possible without the leadership of arguably the most powerful and the most successful and the most respected president in the modern era of the United States.
Did you see that full clip where the Democrats all laughed at him?
Not the objective truth We were delivered unified government, my friends, in November. The White House, the Senate, and the House were delivered to the party on this side of the aisle. So you can laugh all you want, all right?
He's such a piece of shit.
Right?
They were delivered. Basically, it sounds like it was by God too. Like,
oh, that's funny that you mentioned that.
The prayers and.
Let me do the next clip. You will appreciate this.
Is it the prayer circles?
Not exactly, but maybe. So this is what happened right after they passed this budget bill. Mind you, all the stuff we just talked about children, the poor people. Elderly. Yep. Doing all that good stuff. So
let us pray.
Let us
pray.
Here's what he says.
He's always the same. Everybody's conservative. We believe in limited government, and we believe in individual freedom and the rule of law and peace through strength and fiscal responsibility and free markets and human dignity, the things that are all wrapped into this bill. And so I would say there was a lot of pivotal moments. One day I might actually write a book about the last year of my life and trying to get this thing over the line. But I'll say, look, I'm just going to say, I give glory to God. I mean, there's a lot of prayer that brought this together. I'm just going to be very blunt about it. There was a few moments over the last week when it looked like the thing might fall apart. And I went to the little chapel over here and got on my knees and prayed that these guys would have wisdom and stamina and discernment. And that's the secret here, and teamwork and mutual respect that everybody has for one another. And I think that's what defines the Republican Party. It's a great day to be an American. It's a great day to be a Republican. Yeah, go ahead.
Is that not... I'm sorry, God wants you to gut
I feel
Medicaid and Medicare.
Mind you, that the teaching of Jesus, wasn't that supposed to help the poor, welcome the stranger?
The immigrant. Yeah. No, that's
this
what
is the exact opposite.
Yeah.
Of what Jesus would have done.
No, they're using religion to manipulate people, and it's disgusting. It's
because
disgusting.
We don't want to educate people. We want to make them just believe in our cult, so they follow anything we say is right, while wearing a cross around our neck and praying before we slash food and resource access
from the most vulnerable
billions of Americans that need it the most.
And with regard to Medicaid, when they do shit like that, it is going to have a direct effect on rural hospitals. They will close.
Yeah, because the reimbursement, they won't get reimbursements, and they can't turn people away, so they're not going to get paid for caring for people.
They will have to close. So millions of people, and so none of that takes into account what happens when you close a rural hospital where people can't drive 2 hours to get medical assistance. People die. That's what happens. People in our population and communities and society get sicker.
They don't care.
No. But, they prayed about it. It's infuriating.
Because of these so-called religious people that are doing the most anti-religious things that I could imagine and claiming themselves to be these, God-fearing
appointed by God. Yeah.
I did say there was a clip that I had saved from a GOP representative about that bill that I don't know if you wanted me to play it, about him comparing what they were doing to the Titanic. Let me try to put my volume here.
Serves. Gentleman from Massachusetts is recognized.
Mr. Speaker, I yield 1.5 minutes to the gentleman from Kentucky, a man who is not afraid to speak his mind about fiscal responsibility. Mr. Massey.
Gentleman from Kentucky is recognized for 90 seconds.
Well, I'd love to stand here and tell the American people, we can cut your taxes and we can increase spending and everything's going to be just fine. But I can't do that because I'm here to deliver a dose of reality. This bill dramatically increases deficits in the near term, but promises our government will be fiscally responsible 5 years from now. Where have we heard that before? How do you bind a future Congress to these promises? This bill is a debt bomb ticking. Congress can do funny math, fantasy math, if it wants, but bond investors don't. And this week, they sent us a message. Moody's downgraded our credit rating, and the bond investors who buy our debt and finance our debt demanded higher interest rates on the 10-year note, 20-year note, and the 30-year note. What does this mean? Very soon, the government will be paying $16,000 of interest alone per U.S. family. And what are we telling them? Instead of taking care of that problem, we're going to give you a $1,600 tax break. Under the taxing and spending levels in this bill, we're going to rack up, the authors say, $20 trillion of new debt over the next 10 years. I'm telling you, it's closer to $30 trillion of new debt in the next 10 years. Mr. Speaker, we're not rearranging deck chairs on the Titanic tonight. We're putting coal in the boiler and setting a course for the iceberg. If something is beautiful, you don't do it after midnight. I oppose this bill.
Gentleman's time has expired.
Oh my God. Yeah, the big,
Yeah.
beautiful bill, not so beautiful, and that's a Republican.
That is
Good
a
for him.
Republican. And I was like,
Good
oh my
for
God, someone has balls to stand up to these idiots.
Those numbers were way, I mean, because I thought it was $3 to $5 trillion in debt, but that must be for a shorter period. He's saying over, did he say over 10 years or 20 years?
Over, yeah, I think 10
They'll
years.
add
Upwards
Wow.
of possibly 30 trillion.
$30 trillion.
Yeah.
I'm going to move over to what's happened on the legal side of it. And within the budget bill, I don't know if you saw this. Within the budget bill, they're removing criminal contempt powers from federal judges. With any budget bill.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So the courts right now are obviously holding, for the most part, the Trump administration, they're holding him accountable, or his administration accountable, by, they're in Massachusetts. The Trump administration had deported several immigrants to South Sudan against the court's order. They're not from South Sudan, and South Sudan is in the middle of a civil war, and I think it's a civil war. It's not a good place. There's famine.
No.
It's awful. We have travel restrictions as a country, saying do not go there. So they did that in violation, and the court is considering criminal contempt charges. So, that little budget bill, if it makes it through the Senate, will do away with that. We have Harvard, lots of things happening with Harvard. There was, and I think you had sent this to me first, about the Trump administration move to disallow all international students to enroll in Harvard, or that are enrolled. Essentially, they either have to go to a different school or leave the U.S.
But on the
or
bright
they're being
side,
deported.
did you see that the Chinese universities have said that they would welcome them with
Unconditionally.
open arms? Yep.
What the
I'm
hell
like,
is
oh.
wrong with? Yeah, excellent. But the good news
It's
on that
great.
front, on Friday, the court
Yeah.
did block that. There's an injunction in place. So hopefully, fingers crossed, there'll be some good news on that front. There's also, and there's so much, so I'm not even going to try to hit on everything so we don't have really, really long episodes here. The Doge records, the administration has invoked executive privilege, and there should be nothing privileged about what Doge is doing. That should be fully transparent, which is what we were told. So that's all I got on the legal side. I mean, there's a ton of stuff going on, but those are the highlights of this last week.
Yeah.
You had something, didn't you? Didn't you say a
there's
new
not a
press
lot of stuff that
secretary?
I'm following. Yeah, I was going to say there's not a lot of stuff going on in the health that I am trying to bury my head a little bit. I'm sure there is, but I'm as actively avoiding it for my sanity. They did announce that they're not going to have COVID vaccines readily available for everybody unless you're over 65 or have major health conditions or something.
They need to do more testing, right?
because COVID still isn't killing a bunch of people. It's fine. And yeah, and you had mentioned, I just came across this morning. Well, there was another thing that came up I saw on Facebook, and it just makes my skin crawl because you know how much I love our White House press secretary. She had said, I don't even know what they were talking about, but she said hatred has no place in the US under President Donald Trump. Someone imposed his tweet from, what was it, a month ago or whenever, that said, I hate Taylor Swift. Yeah. So basically, hatred is only this people that don't agree. Like,
oh, for sure.
This is it's unbelievable. They claim to be so like, oh yeah, we're such great people. We're so religious. She wears her cross around her neck and then lies like it is her job. It is to the American people.
With a straight face and so condescending.
They hate people that aren't white. They hate people that, aren't conservative. Hate liberals, any liberals, all Democrats, whatever. They hate everybody that isn't drinking the Kool-Aid. They hate the educated. Like, but hate has no place. Like,
give me a break.
Right. This is the new secretary or the press secretary for the Department of Defense, who's already been under scrutiny that she's even, working in these, positions. And now they're promoting her to the press secretary. So her name is Kingsley Wilson. Apparently, she's going to rival, if not top, Caroline Leavitt. I just did a quick little Google search, found an article on NPR that talked about some of her controversial stuff that she's done. It's sickening. She's 26 years old, by the way, so she totally knows the ways of the world at that. Mm-hmm. But I mean, that tracks. Whatever. But the biggest thing that I found interesting was at the bottom of the article here. Let me she had said, and this was just last year, American communities across the country are being conquered by an invading horde of third world migrants. Foundational Americans who were never asked or consulted are being made strangers in their own country. And she went on to say, I think it's totally fair for us as American citizens to say, not all cultures are equal. I recognize that some cultures don't assimilate well into my culture, and I don't want more of those people here.
Oh my God, like a straight up white nationalist.
She seems to follow a lot of neo-Nazi political stuff. That looks like where she gets a lot of her info and what she kind of shares and regurgitates. Again, I can't even be surprised with this stuff, but it's like,
well, it's why they're allowing in or want to allow in potentially millions. I don't know exactly the number. They've already allowed in 60 white South Africans, the ones that they said are being part of a potential genocide in South Africa. But upwards, like Stephen Miller said, well, that's just the beginning of a much larger relocation program. And I read, it could be millions, like 2 million or something like that, which is, okay, so we'll bring in white people and we're going to remove non-white people. I mean, it's just racism. That's what it is. And they're not even shy about it. Like with that, I mean, they don't even care.
Nope. But everything's okay if you do it out in the open. If you're a blatant racist out in the open and not hiding, just like if you're not hiding your dirty dealings with, other countries, it's fine. Oh, and this girl also has like praised Putin and critiqued Zelensky, of course. It's just the GOP way.
MAGA way.
MAGA way.
The MAGA way. Yeah. Are you just drinking water today?
Yeah.
It
I've
is a
been
little
chugging water because of these
cat
allergy
allergies.
things going on. I'm hoping, I'm like, I never thought I'd hope it was COVID, but I really don't want it. I really don't want it to be cat allergies now that I've
You'll work
put
through
2
it.
little kitties into my house. Yeah.
If you need to rehome them, just drop them at my place. Yeah. Well, I am not drinking right now, but I did. This is my new drink that I tried last night. It's Sun Cruiser Lemonade Vodka Pink Lemonade. And it doesn't have like those seltzers. Really, really good. It's very good. Highly recommend it. I'll be having some this evening. But I did want to, we'd been gone a couple weeks, and my daughter had, as you know, went to DC as part of her DC trip, school trip. And she's obviously my daughter because she wore a Kamala Harris hat and earrings to the White House. They didn't actually go in the White House. She's not part of those people who gave all that money for the Trump meme coin. So she didn't get a personal tour, or her class didn't, of the White House. But standing outside the White House, I'm going to share just a couple videos that she's put on TikTok. She's a huge fan of Hamilton, which I love. The musical Hamilton, and I have to share them just because they're just so dang good, so dang good, and I'm just proud of her being my daughter.
Remember that I served you well. Oceans rise, empires fall. No one else was in the room where it happened. The room where it happened. The room where it happened. No one else was in the room where it happened. The room where it happened. The room where it happened. No one in.
Yeah, so she's a fun girl, and I love that she's speaking her mind as and she's old enough to form her own opinions, and she lets people know it. And I think that's what you and I've, we're trying to, talk to people, put it out there. When you see things that are wrong, speak up. And there's a lot of stuff wrong right now. So I don't really have any.
I have a Disney tie-in.
Oh, Disney tie-in.
I was watching my toddler, my 2-year-old, his favorite movie is Zootopia.
Oh, I love Zootopia.
And I think it hits different these days, but the quote, which it's great. After Judy Hopps figures out what's going on, and Mayor Bellwether is ready to, let Nick kill her. She says, "So that's it. Prey fears predator and you stay in power." And Mayor Bellwether says, "Yeah, pretty much." Judy says it won't work. And Mayor Bellwether says, "Fear always works." Pretty poignant.
Yeah,
it's so true, because I'm like, it literally makes you think back to, the fear mongering with immigrants. Oh, they're all rapists. They're all murderers. They're eating the cats. They're eating the dog. Like, so much of this was fear mongering.
Well, transgender during the election.
Yeah.
I mean,
yes.
We were flooded with transgender ads that were just so hateful.
Yes.
Pedophiles, men going in women's locker rooms. And I mean, are you serious? Fear, unfortunately, is powerful. I'm still going to hold out hope that the good will prevail here. I hate to end on a down note. Thanks.
Sorry. I mean, she outsmarted her in the end and won. Yes, so there's that.
True. I think on that note, I'll be having a few of these tonight. Maybe one more than normal.
Maybe I'll have one too. Who knows?
I'll crazy later.
Yeah. Okay, bye.
Right. Yep. Till next time.